Hello and good morning. Thank you for joining our webinar where we'll be reviewing MetLife's dental, vision, life, and legal products exclusively available to NCN ministers and their staff. Okay, so let's get started. Our agenda today includes introductions, an overview of MetLife's products and rates, the enrollment process, important deadlines, and now it is my extreme pleasure to introduce the endorsed broker for the NCN Assemblies of God, Meg McComb.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so proud to be your newly endorsed broker, and it was wonderful visiting with many of you at District Council last week. I look forward to working with your district in the days ahead. As Steve said, today's webinar will appear on the district website under Ministers Insurance, as well as my website, megmccomb.com. Please feel free to call upon me with all your personal insurance questions, including medical insurance for you and your church staff. Take it away, Glenn.
Good morning, everybody, and my name is Glenn Easley. I'm the dedicated account executive from MetLife that's been working with both Meg McComb and the Assemblies of God to develop the plan designs that we're going to discuss here today. And I can't tell you as a whole how excited we are to be offering these plans to both the ministers and staff of the Assemblies of God for the very first time. As you can see below, there are a number of different choices that you will have, which includes 3 different dental plans, which have 2 different PPO plans, as well as 1 DHMO, another vision option, as well as a supplemental life and AD&D, which also goes by the name voluntary term life, with guarantee issue amounts up to $150,000 that are completely guaranteed, no medical question asked. And then last and certainly not least, we're going to be talking about our Hyatt Legal program. Now, as we go through the presentation, we're hoping that we're going to answer most of the questions that you have, but for some reason, if there's still any outstanding questions, feel free to reach out directly to Meg McComb or the great folks at Dickerson Employee Benefits who can answer any question that you have about the plan designs or how to enroll in the plans. So first up, we do have our PPO options. And as you can see below, there are 2 different PPOs that you will have access to enroll in. We have a low plan and a high plan. As you'll be able to see as I go through both plans, the high plan, you will get better coverage with higher maximums and also ortho coverage. But let's start with the low plan first. So for your preventative services, which are going to be things like cleanings, oral examinations, x-rays, all those things are going to be covered at 100%, whether you're going in or out of network. You shouldn't pay anything out of pocket. Now for your basic services, which are going to be things like your fillings, or root canals, those things are going to be covered by MetLife at 80%, and you are responsible for the other 20% out of pocket. Now, for your major services, so these are the things that you typically have to go to the dentist for more than 1 visit to get the service completed. So things like crowns or implants or bridges, dentures, all those things on the low plan are covered by MetLife at 50%, and then you're responsible for the other 50% out of pocket. Now, with this plan, there are deductibles that you will have to satisfy, as you can see at the top of the chart. So it's a $50 deductible per member, up to $150 for an entire family. But please note, you don't have to satisfy that deductible if you're going in for preventative services, only basic or major services. There also is an annual max on this plan that will refresh every year. $1,000 annual max. If you are going in network, that $1,000 will stretch a lot further than if you're seeing an out-of-network provider. Now, for the high plan, your preventative is still covered at 100%, whether you're going in or out of network, so you still won't pay anything for your cleanings or x-rays or oral examinations. However, for your basic services, which is, again, things like your fillings or root canals, now that stuff is covered in network by 90% by MetLife, and you're only responsible for the other 10%. And out-of-network is still covered at 80% by MetLife, and then you're responsible for the other 20%. Now, for your major services, again, crowns, implants, bridges, dentures, if you're going in-network on the high plan, it's covered at 60% now. So you're only responsible for the other 40%. Out-of-network is still covered at 50%. Now, with this high plan, you still do have the same deductible you have on the low plan. So it's $50 per member, up to a max of $150 for an entire family. But again, you won't have to satisfy that deductible if you're going in for preventative services. Now, one of the key differences that you will see is a lot higher of an annual max that you get in the high plan. So your annual max for the high plan is now $2,000 as opposed to $1,000 on the low plan. In addition to that, you also have ortho coverage for both child and adult orthodontia coverage under the high plan. And the way that coverages works is it's 50% up to a one-time max of $1,000. So as you'll see there is a big difference between your annual max and your ortho lifetime max. So once you use your orthodontia coverage one time under the PPO, it's completely done, and that maximum will not renew. Now, before we go on to the DHMO, I do want to point out and say that one of the big reasons that most people will probably choose the PPO is just the freedom of choice. You can go to any provider that you want to under the plan. Doesn't matter about any restrictions. You can go anywhere you want to go. However, we always try to steer people to look on our website at metlife.com to try to find an in-network provider, because your annual maximums and things will stretch out a lot further if you're going to an in-network provider. And the last thing that we want to point out that we're very, very happy about is the fact that there's no waiting periods for any service. So day one, you can come onto the plan and get anything that you need done. So next up, we have our DHMO plan. So with DHMO, this plan, as you can already probably tell, is going to be a lot different than the PPO plan. So with the PPO, remember we had co-insurance. These are now all co-payments on the DHMO plan. So as you can see below, when you go to the dentist and get things like your cleanings, x-rays done, those still are covered at a $0 copay. But as you get into your fillings, your root canals, your crowns, all those have an associated payment that you are responsible for before you leave the dentist office. So if you have questions about what might be covered or not covered, as Steve is going to go through with how to enroll in the products through eCentral, there will also be links in there where you can look at the plan design summaries. If you're thinking about joining the DHMO, I strongly encourage you to review the plan design so you have an idea of what the copays are that you may need to pay when you go to the dentist. But another big thing that you'll notice below are the rates. This plan's a lot cheaper than the rates that you saw on the PPO plan. One of the biggest reasons why is that it's a limited network. So with our DHMO plan, you have to choose one of our network providers. There is no option to go out of network. You can only choose one of our network providers. And for some reason, if you're not satisfied with the dentist, you can always switch, but you can only switch up to once a month. And in addition to that, you will also need a dental ID card to access service under the plan. So moving forward, we have our vision option. And we're so excited to announce that we now partner with VSP as a part of our vision network. So you'll get access to all of your favorite local optometrists and ophthalmologists that are all considered in-network providers for us. In addition to that, you'll also have some big box retailers. So as you're shopping at Costco, you can also get your glasses and contacts there under the plan, and it's considered an in-network provider as well as Pearl Vision. You have a lot of different options to choose from our vision network. Now, when you go in to use the plan, your eye exams, you will pay a $10 copay, and then your eye exam is fully covered. When you go back to get either your glasses or contact lenses, you will pay another $25 copay, but then you'll have access to a $130 allowance that can either be used for frames or contact lenses. So the way that the allowance works, say your contacts for a year supply cost $200. Your frame reimbursement or contact lens reimbursement will cover the first $130, and you're only responsible to pay the remaining balance of $70. With the vision plan, you can get an eye exam once a year. You can get either glasses or glass lens or contact lens also once a year. But then your your glass frames, you can only get once every 2 years. So under the plan, you have to either choose contacts or glasses once a year. You cannot get both in the same calendar year and have it be covered under the plan. There also is an out-of-network feature, but as you can see, it's more of a reimbursement as you're getting things done. You pay out of pocket, and then the claims form will need to be sent into MetLife VSP, and we will send you a reimbursement amount based on the allowances that you see below. Next up, we have our supplemental life and AD&D coverage, which, as I said in the beginning, this is also called voluntary term life. But as you can see under the plans below, we're very, very excited to say that you can have access to up to $150,000 in coverage without answering any medical questions whatsoever. So for all the members, you have access to a plan that is sold in increments of $25,000 up to a max of $150,000. Again, it's full guarantee issue coverage, no medical questions asked. You can also purchase life insurance for a spouse, but their plan works a little bit different. It's sold in increments of $5,000 up to a max of $100,000, but please keep in mind that your spouse cannot elect more than 50% of what you yourself elect as a member. Now, children also have access to guarantee issue coverage, and there's 5 different options. You can either get $1,000, $2,000, $4,000, $5,000, or $10,000 in guarantee issue coverage for kids. And the great thing for kids, whether you have one child or maybe a family of 3, you pay one rate and you're fully covered for all of your kids. And as you can see below, our goal was to design a plan that was very, very affordable for everyone and something that people would get excited about. So as you can see, if you're a person that falls within the age gap of 50 to 54, you can get up to $100,000 in guarantee issue insurance for the low monthly cost of less than $30. So it's very, very affordable insurance. Hope you guys are very excited about this. And another cool thing is, regardless of your age, the plan amounts will never reduce. So there is no age reduction schedule with the plan. So if you elect in your $100,000, you will keep that for the remainder of the plan. So last and certainly not least, we have our MetLaw/Hyatt Legal program, which for the low monthly fee of $22.50, either you as a member, your spouse, or children will have access to a network of attorneys which spans the entire nation. It's around 14,000 different attorneys that you can choose from. And the way that the plan pretty much acts as having an attorney on retainer for any of your legal needs that may come up. So as you can see to the left, those are some of the most popular ways that people tend to use a plan for things like estate planning. So you can have a will drawn up or maybe have a will revised. You can have living will or testamentary trust. There is real estate matters. So if you might be buying a property or selling a property, any of the documents that you need, attorneys can take care of fully for the cost included in the per month cost of $22.50. And then I would also say one of the biggest uses of the plan are for traffic violations as well. So stoplight tickets, speeding tickets, cell phone tickets. You can use the plan to fight those. And the plan is meant to be used as face-to-face with your attorney. So once you call in and get an attorney assigned, we promote heavily for you to go speak to the attorney face-to-face, and they will also fully represent you in court, whether you are there or not. So it's pretty good coverage for, again, the low cost of $22.50. Now next, I'm going to turn it back over to Steve at Dickerson to discuss how you can enroll in these plans.
Well, thank you, Glenn. Great job. We worked hard, everyone, to make it super easy for you to enroll. So you're going to see 3 different enrollment options. By now, you should have received a link to eCentral. That's our online enrollment platform. I'm going to walk you through how that works. The first thing you're going to do is get your email and log in. Next, you're going to click on the green Start Open Enrollment button. And then you're going to be taken to the overview page. The overview page, You're going to notice at the bottom, if you have any questions, please contact our insurance account manager, Ana Maria Nunez, at the number on the screen, 800-457-6116, extension 236. So if you have any questions, you have a dedicated resource. After you look at the enrollment overview, just click the green Next button. And now you're going to see on the left a navigation bar. So it's going to start with the overview, go to Profile, go to Dependents, go to Benefits, go to Beneficiaries, sign your forms, summary, and finish. Let's talk a little bit about filling out your profile. Again, we have made this very easy. Your name should already be in there, but if it isn't, just put your first name, your last name. You're going to need to include your gender, your birth date, and your social security number. All of those are required fields, and so is your marital status. For tobacco user, we've set that as a default for no, so don't worry about that. That can't be changed, and you don't need to think about that. Next, on the pane below, you'll see your address. So go ahead and type in your street address. If there's an apartment, put that in there too. Your city, state, zip code, and country. Next, on the right of that, you'll put in your phone numbers. Now, it's asking for personal and work. You can put the same number twice. It just needs a field to be recognized. And then down below, we have included a place for hire date, job title, scheduled hours per week, and pay cycle. You can put any date in there you want. For a hire date, it's just a field that needs to be completed. For job title, you can put regular. You can put, we've preset it for 40 hours per week, and the pay cycle is monthly. Here's where it's very important. For reconciliation purposes, we do need to have you put down the church that you're affiliated with. So whatever that church name is, just put that in, and that will help us with that process. So that's filling out your profile. The next part, if you want to add a dependent, again, very similar situation. You're going to put your dependent's first name, last name, their gender, birth date, social security number, the relationship to you, and then click Add Dependent. Just to be clear, what is a dependent? A dependent is your spouse and child or children. After you click that green Next button, you're going to be taken to the Enroll or Benefits page. Now, this is starting off with Vision, and then it's going to go, if you look to the right under Benefit Summary, it's going to give you options for Vision, Voluntary Dental, Voluntary Life, AD&D, as Glenn talked about, and Prepaid Legal. The default, if you look under my name here, Steve, and then it has Test Crane, it says Enrolled. I need to click from Waived to Enroll to get to Enroll. So it's going to be set at a default of Waived. You change it to Enrolled, and then you're going to follow the prompts all the way through. After you choose whether you want to enroll or waive vision, it's going to ask you about dental, and it's going to give you those 3 dental options, the 2 PPOs and the HMO. After that, it's going to ask you about voluntary life and the coverage amount that you want. And then finally, it'll give you a section to choose whether you want prepaid legal, the Hyatt legal program. So it's going to walk you through all of those. All you're doing is touching and pushing on the green Next button to go through all that. And then at the end, it's going to ask you to sign here. You sign your name. You click Continue. It's going to give you your overview and summary of benefits. It'll tell you whether you enrolled or waived coverage for you and all your dependents. And then finally, you're going to click that green button that's in the upper right-hand corner, and it's going to take you to your the final page, which is your congratulations. When you see this message, you know that you successfully completed filling out your benefits. Now, that's the online enrollment ability and access. We also made it so that if you are not wanting to use the computer, you can complete your enrollment just using a paper enrollment form. You can get the enrollment form 2 different ways. It is available on East Central, or it might be easier to call our account manager, Ana Maria Nunez, at the number on the screen. And then finally, if that is an option that you, if you feel like I'd like to enroll just over the phone, we've made that possible too. So you can call Ana Maria Nunez at that number. Ana Maria can help answer your benefit questions, enrollment questions, and even where to send payment. So she is your total resource and very good about being able to direct you to what you need. So now let's talk about your payment options. Again, one of the, when this was all being designed, everyone wanted to offer convenient, flexible payment options to make it as easy and affordable as possible. So you actually have the option to pay monthly for your benefits, quarterly, which would be 3 times the monthly, or yearly. Keep in mind, and this is probably the most important thing, the first payment needs to be made by check. So the first payment, you will write a check, and you'll send it, make it payable to NCN Assemblies of God. You'll get an envelope, you'll put the check in the envelope, and on the envelope you'll put MVI Administrators Inc., 1011 Camino del Rio South, Suite 300, San Diego, California, 92108. It's a good idea to write the number of months you're paying for in the memo section of the check. Now, I don't expect that you will be able to remember that address and who to make it payable to, so that will be on the first screen of the benefits page. It's right here under Northern California, Nevada Assemblies of God, and then please send your checks to MVI administrators. So that's where you'll find how to remit payment. And I apologize for, now after you make your first payment, you're going to have options. So after the first check, you'll have the option to pay by check, again, Visa, or MasterCard. MVI will send an invoice to you via email and provide payment instructions and options. So again, more flexibility after that first payment, whether you want to do it by Visa or MasterCard. This is important, an important deadline. Open enrollment is right now. It's happening as this webinar progresses. So you must enroll by May 17th for a June 1 effective date. If you do not enroll by May 17th, you will not be given another opportunity until next May, unless you have a qualifying event. Qualifying event is marriage, birth of a child, loss of coverage somewhere else. Not too typical that you would have a qualifying event. So if you don't make the May 17th, you won't have another opportunity. So please don't delay. Go ahead and sign up and take care of that. And then finally, if you have questions, you can call Ana Maria Nunez at the number above, and she'll be happy to answer all of your questions. I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to work with the NCN Assemblies of God. And then I'm going to turn it over to Meg McComb for a few quick words. Thanks so much, Meg.
Thank you, Glenn, and thank you, Steve, for doing such a great job explaining open enrollment. I want to thank you all for staying on the call and being good listeners. The only thing I want to add to the great job the guys did is that if you're an administrator for a church or a school, whatever that's affiliated with the Northern California, Nevada Assemblies of God, and you would prefer to send in one check for multiple employees, that is easy, and it may be what you want to do. In order to find out, call Ana Maria Nunez at 800-457-6116, extension 236, and she can walk you through a billing for all your employees. And please remember that the deadline is coming up. It's May 17th. It's an honor to be of service to your district. Thank you so much.